Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new week of TNT. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Thank you to those people that joined in on our live program on Saturday and also watched our Grumpy Old Men program yesterday, and all your comments always gratefully received. Now, we just wanted to follow up with a few stories, and we'll head off to Prachinburi. And this story covered by coconuts.co. It says the Prachinburi Governor eats fruit to calm radiation fears. So nothing better than a bit of a media stunt to show that there's nothing wrong with the local produce, there's no radioactivity. Let's see what the story says. And coconuts.co says, to ease fears that Prachinburi has radioactivity problem, its top official posed for photos eating fruit, looking to restore confidence after several tour groups reportedly cancelled trips to the province due to concern over the detection of cesium-137. The provincial governor and his team went to a fruit farm near to where the radioactive traces were found near a steel smelting plant. They then peeled and ate mangoes and Marion plums along with other fruit grown there and posed for photos with a geiger counter showing that the radioactivity was at acceptable levels. The photos were released by the Prachinburi Provincial Office a week after a radioactive industrial device was reported missing and days after traces of highly dangerous cesium-137 isotopes were found at the plant. About 20 hotels and resorts in Prachinburi were said to be affected, according to the president of the Provincial Tourism Association. So that's the way to do it. Take the offensive and get out there in front of the cameras and say everything's fine. Come back to Prachinburi. Same can't be said for Chiang Mai up in the north of Thailand, and Phuket-go.com reporting that Chiang Mai chokes as Thai officials twiddle their thumbs. This is really just a reiteration of a story we've told before, but at the end of the day, last weekend, the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, was some of the worst air pollution up in that area ever. And it says that Chiang Mai and northern Thailand having one of its worst weekends of choking dangerous air pollution levels. Today, that's yesterday, the levels reached hazardous levels in some areas in northern Thailand, according to iqair.com. And let's just have a good look at the map there. And you can see the northern border of Thailand. You can see Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai. And you can also see, if you compare with the graph down the bottom, the difference between very unhealthy and hazardous levels. And you've got hazardous levels right around the border areas there of Chiang Mai. And if you look just over the borders in Laos and in Myanmar, you can see a huge concentration of agricultural fires. So horrible conditions up there over the weekend. Indeed, they scored the World AQI, that's the Air Quality Index ranking, as the worst city in the world. And you can see that Chiang Mai is not in very good company there with places like Accra, Delhi, Dubai, Kathmandu, Karachi, places known for their bad air quality and air pollution. But a place like Chiang Mai, which for 80% of the year is such a pristine, beautiful location and such a treasure, that we should embrace here in Thailand, but yet they have to put up with this really bad publicity for 20% of the year, and it's something that can be solved. Let's go to more of that in a moment. You can see from the NASA satellite map, and this is the fire maps which we show you sometimes, that area in Southeast Asia is just lit up like a Christmas tree. And so I've just outlined Thailand there in white because there's so many lines there, and we've got Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam. And you can see once again that huge concentration of current lit forest fires in northwest Myanmar and northern Laos. And that smoke is just coming across the border, and as we could see from the IQ air map, causing huge problems for those border areas and those border provinces right near the border of Myanmar and Laos. I mean, the evidence is just so clear as exactly what's happening, and I just don't know why the Thai government keep on trying to blame other things or saying that they're going to clamp down on this or that. They really just need to knock on the door of the Burmese and the Laotian governments and say we need to fix this. The story goes on saying that whilst the annual issue is abundantly clear and well published these days, the Thai government's been unable to tackle the core issues of the problem, the burning off in areas outside the Thai borders, whilst they've been able to partially limit the burning of plantations inside Thailand. The burning issue beyond the Thai borders appears unsolvable at this time. So that story covered in Phuket-go.com. We'll head to the other end of the country in just a moment, but just wanted to thank 5 Star Marine for their ongoing support. Yes, I'm still here in my home today. I've got my 17 trunks all packed. I'm ready to go, but I'm not sure exactly when the trip with 5 Star Marine's happening, but I will be out there on the waters of Phang Nga Bay off Phuket with 5 Star Marine for 3 or 4 days. I'm not exactly sure when that's happening, but I'll probably hear today. But if you'd like to have a talk to 5 Star Marine about their premium private charters, then you can go to the link in the description under this video. Now we are heading from Chiang Mai now down to the other end of the country to Phuket, and naughty foreigners record 180 criminal charges this year in Phuket. The island's seen a huge surge in formal criminal charges against foreigners this year, with over 180 cases recorded since January. Among the top 3 nationalities involved in these cases are Russians, French and British. Phuket police are taking a low-tolerance attitude towards tourists and long-stay foreigners behaving badly this year, including the introduction of the red and yellow card penalty system. And the story says that in response to the rise in criminal cases on the island, the Phuket governors recently chaired a meeting with representatives of 23 countries, including Australia, China, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, South Korea and the UK. So this happens every year, not just in Phuket, but in all these places where you've got a lot of tourists, and the provincial governor calls all the consulate generals. They all sit round and they drink tea politely, and the governor says, now, you guys, you've got to look after your citizens. And then all the honorary consulate generals say, but what about the jet skis? What about the taxis? What about this? And everybody chats and agrees that something needs to be done, and nothing's ever done. Now, a slightly different perspective on that story from the PatiaNews.com, and they say that Phuket Immigration reported that there are in total 181 foreigners in the legal process of criminal cases. Most of them are Russian, French, British, Myanmar and Cambodian. The most criminal cases are in Patong, which is hardly surprising because when it comes to Phuket, that's where a lot of foreigners go, particularly younger foreigners. And then most cases are drunk driving, overstaying, illegally entering the kingdom, that would be Burmese and Cambodians mainly, and working without a work permit. You can't work if you're a tourist. It's as simple as that. And the story goes on to cover more about the red and the yellow cards, this from the PatiaNews.com. As a result, many foreigners claimed that when arrested or told about penalties based on their behaviour, they didn't know the law or rules, or claimed that nobody had clearly told them the laws or rules. I think they expect that when you walk off the aircraft, there's a whole list of 200 laws of things that you can't do. Many claimed they saw other people do the same type of crime or rule violation and not get penalised, and felt that they could do so also, or asked why others were not penalised and they were, referring a lot of times to Thais who seem to get away with a lot more than foreigners sometimes. And Phuket Immigration also stated it was the responsibility of a visitor to be familiar with laws of the country they were travelling to, and not of the country to specifically inform every tourist or foreigner individually of every law and regulation. Full stop, exclamation mark, leave a line. And then for the first time, one did something wrong. They gave them yellow cards for a warning and reported their behaviour to consulates. If they did it again, they'd receive red cards. Their visa would be withdrawn and be deported as previously stated. So that story finishes by saying that the Pattaya News notes the system is currently only being operated in Phuket as a trial program, but if successful, may expand to other areas popular with tourists, such as Pattaya, Chiang Mai and Koh Samui. I sort of hope it doesn't. The problem with it is just we don't know enough about what these penalties are. If you're caught without wearing a bike helmet on a motorbike, Are they going to drag you off the bike and take you to the airport and deport you? We actually need to know what you're going to get a yellow card for and what you need a red card for. They gave these very broad classifications last week. Class A, not very bad things, down to Class 5, really bad things. But we need to know specifically what people are going to be getting yellow and red cards for, because otherwise it's going to affect tourism at some stage where people are going to say, I don't really know what I'm meant to be doing, rather than just coming and enjoying their holiday. Moving on to another story, this from the Bangkok Post. An anxious Asia arms for a war it hopes to prevent. Now, I'm going to put a link to this story in the description of the video. There's quite a lot to cover here. I'll just go through some of the main points. And the story says the tiny island of Tinian was the launch point for US planes carrying atomic bombs to Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. Now a new runway is being carved from the jungle just south of World War II ruins. Where is Tinian? So there is a map of Southeast Asia, China, all the way down to the north of Australia. And it's right out there in the middle of the Pacific, sort of pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And we get a little bit closer and you can see you've got Guam there to the south and the Northern Mariana Islands, and one of those is this island of Tinian. And the story says that Asia and the Pacific are steering into an anxious, well-armed moment with echoes of old conflicts and immediate risks, rattled by China's military build-up and territorial threats, along with Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine and doubts about US resolve. Nations across the region are bolstering defence budgets, joint training, weapons manufacturing and combat-ready infrastructure. And for decades, Asia's rise made it an economic engine for the world, tying China to other regional manufacturing hubs, to Europe and America. The focus was trade. Now fear is setting in, with China and the United States locked in a volatile strategic contest and with diplomatic relations at their worst point in 50 years. This past week's meeting in Moscow between China's leading Xi Jinping and President Vladimir Putin of Russia pointed to the powerful forces lining up against the West. The article says Xi has made his intentions clear. He aims to achieve a national rejuvenation that would include displacing the US as the dominant rule setter in the region, controlling access to the South China Sea and bringing Taiwan, a self-governing island that China sees as lost territory, under Beijing's control. And we just note there that the story was originally written and published in the New York Times. So that story headed, "An Anxious Asia Arms for a War It Hopes to Prevent." I'll put a link of the Bangkok Post version of the story in the description in this video. And now we go to Cowside English and their Facebook page, and it's a quick report about the results of a NIDA poll taken on the weekend in Bangkok with 2,500 Bangkokians, released yesterday, showing the Move Forward Party Peter being chosen as the preferred person to become the next Prime Minister. He got 25%, and then Pheu Thai Party's PM candidate Pathongtham Shinawatra with 24%. So now this is Bangkok, the home of the elite, the home of the army and the conservative forces here in Thailand, and we've got these two progressive opposition party leaders. And as I've said before, if you put the votes across Thailand with the Move Forward Party and Pheu Thai together, it could be that they will get a majority of 50% of the vote plus one. And the incumbent caretaker Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha came in a distant third with 18.2%. Just moving further down there, it says NIDA conducted the Bangkok poll between the 15th and the 21st of March, and all respondents were 18 or older and eligible voters. In terms of favourite party list MPs, Pheu Thai topped the list with 34%, and then you had Move Forward at nearly 29%, and Prayut Chan-o-cha's United Thai Nation Party, a distant nearly 15%, the Democrat Party, who once held government earlier in this particular century, they came forth with only 6% of the party list vote for MPs. But what about Anitin Shahvirakun? Now, he's the Public Health Minister, the author of the decriminalisation of cannabis last year, the head of the Bumjai Thai Party. Their stocks in this next election are crucial to what happens to the future decriminalisation of cannabis and indeed the future of recreational use of cannabis. Well, he's got himself an outstanding 1.64% of the vote at the moment, and that is in his heartland in Bangkok, where this NIDA poll was taken. So Aniton and the Bumjai Thai Party got a lot of work to do. Now, speaking of which, we head back to Phuket. This story reported in the Star. Ready, set, roll. A Thai man wins the fastest joint rolling in Phuket. And the photo there saying that a man wearing a shirt with a marijuana leaf pattern attends the first Phuket Cannabis Cup, in that photo taken there on Saturday. And the story says that with nimble fingers and years of practice, Ativat beat other cannabis enthusiasts to roll a perfect 1 gram joint in 43 seconds on Saturday, becoming the fastest joint roller in Thailand's Phuket. Apart from the title and trophy, the winner, in his 30s, was also awarded a cash prize of 5,000 baht. The contest was part of an inaugural event where enthusiasts and experts could gather and exchange opinions and knowledge with the aim of helping set a standard for Thailand's fledgling cannabis industry. And the president of the Phuket Cannabis Association hopes laws to regulate cannabis will be hastened after the election. Yes, I think there will be some more laws about cannabis. I don't think the result's going to make the president of the Phuket Cannabis Association particularly happy, but that's all yet to come. And that's it for today's program. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand and the region. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Click that like button on your way out, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.